What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Today's video is going to be all about advice I have for writing your college essays. Without further ado, let's get on into these tips before my phone cuts off again. So I decided to break the tips up into stages of writing your essay. So the first stage is choosing the prompt. What I will say the prompts are important for are just guidelines to see how to structure your essay. They all kind of ask follow-up questions, so they kind of give you an idea of, when telling your story or writing your essay, the kind of other questions you should be keeping in mind, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So I will just say, don't stress about choosing the prompt. In the next stage of your essay writing journey, choosing and drafting your story. It's very common that you will have several ideas in your head that you might want to write about but can't choose one. And something that I will say that really helped me, make a rough draft for each idea you have in your head, and what you will hopefully find is that there's one essay that kind of writes itself. And something that can be a little discouraging at this point is to see that the essay that writes itself is not the one that you really want to write about, and that's okay too. What's important is that it taught you a really big or important lesson that you can extend to life beyond high school. And one quick tip I will say for drafting is to focus on structure and not prose. Don't spend your whole drafting process trying to figure out what hook to use, or I don't know, what similes you should use. I don't know. Just focus on bare skeleton, bare bones structure, and then once you start with that, then the style comes later. And the style is a lot easier once you already have a feel for the direction you want to take your essay. So the final stage of writing your essay is actually telling the story and writing the essay. Yes? So the first thing I will say, before you even pick up a pencil or begin to type on your keyboard, try to get into the minds of the other students who are applying with you. You have to ask yourself a critical question. How many other people have probably had this experience? Let's say I'm a kid in high school and baseball is really important to me, and this is what I want to write my essay about. Now think about how many high schools there are, how many of them have baseball teams, how many of them have good players? A lot. And that's not to say that you are not special, but it's just to say that this is an experience that a lot of people share. So once you get into the minds of all the other students, then you can further figure out how to distinguish yourself. Because if you're just thinking about how to make yourself unique and you're only thinking about yourself, or maybe even just people that you know, you may not end up thinking of an experience that's as unique as you think it is. So think about the broad spectrum of high school students applying to college. And the next thing I will say is to not spend the entire essay telling a story. While your story is very important, it's a crucial component of the essay, like I mentioned earlier, what's also very important is to explain what you took from this experience and how you can make it into a bigger picture. So just imagine you're writing this essay and you're like, yeah, here's an experience I had, and it was great. It was the most important experience of my life. Someone reading your essay would be like, okay, and what else? So one of the prompts says to reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? So what you don't want to do is simply answer, a time I challenged a belief or idea was this. This happened, this prompted my thinking, this was the outcome.
Okay, and?
You have to dig a little deeper. Why would a college admissions officer care about a time that you challenged a belief or idea? Maybe you're going into some field of science, and challenging beliefs or ideas is important because in science you can't accept things as fact. You have to do experiments, ask yourself questions. So in challenging this belief or idea, maybe it was a real life application of the scientific method, and you'll be the best scientist that you can be. That's just one small example, but try to ask yourself, okay, here's this prompt. Why would this information be useful for colleges to know? If you keep that in mind, it'll really help you create a bigger picture that's relevant. Moving on, I hope that made sense. If it didn't, always ask below. So the next thing I will say is to take control of your essay. Don't use words like, if I get in, or if I get the chance to do this. I hope I can come here. You have to advocate for yourself and take control of the essay and your application in general. So look, Life lesson. At the end of the day, college is a business. They want to know that if they're making this investment into you, into accepting you, that they will have some benefit. So it's not enough to just say why you think their university is cool or a good match for you. You have to really market yourself and advocate for yourself. Like, hey, I did this, I'm great, I'm cool, your school would be lucky to have me. Moving on, keep your personality. So if there's something about you that's creative, maybe you're good at telling stories, maybe you write storyboards, maybe you're funny, apply that to your essay and don't be a robot. One last thing I will say is to look at other essays for reference. Just use it as a guide, get a feel for what other people are doing or what other people have done to get accepted into the college that you may be wanting to go to. But also don't copy anyone's essay because that is plagiarism and that is illegal. So, well guys, what do you know? My phone ran out of storage. Luckily that was the last tip. Basically what I started talking about is my contest. I don't know, nothing big or anything. So basically I'm having this contest where I will select 3 lucky little winners, for which I will give them a copy of my own Common App essay and my Penn supplement, and I will also look over their essays and give in-depth feedback and a strong lengthy peer review. So yes, I'm doing this because unfortunately I really frequently get asked questions about if I can look over people's application material, and unfortunately just based on how lengthy that process is, I can't do it for everyone. So I'm gonna do it for 3 people. You have to be subscribed to my channel and you just have to leave a comment about why it's important for you to pursue higher education or why college is important to you. And yeah, then I'll select 3 lucky winners and you know, life will be great. The last day to submit your comment is by December 20th. That's the day of my last final, so basically I'm giving you until my semester's over. My goal is to have everything done by like a few days before January 1st because I know that January 1st is an important deadline for a lot of colleges. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Just one other disclaimer I wanted to make was I am just a student who has gotten accepted into Penn. All that distinguishes me from you is the fact that, you know, I was born a couple years earlier, got to start college a couple years earlier, so I've had a few experiences that you haven't had yet. If you want to ask me about those experiences, I'm more than open to share them, but I cannot tell you if you'll get into Penn or anything like that. I am not on the admissions board. But yes, with that, I wish you all the best of luck on your college applications journey. It's almost over for some of you. Winter break is coming! Winter break is coming! If no one has already told you today, you're powerful, you're great, I love you. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Gotta go respond to people's texts now. Bye!